Hey, peace, 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 peace. What's going on? This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. So today I want to do a video honoring Black Music Month, and this topic I want to focus on a musical artist that came about around the 60s and the 70s, and he was a blues artist. He went by the name Howlin Wolf. So Howlin Wolf was very popular within the 60s and 70s, um, with the blues music and all. And today is his born day. He was born on June the 10th of 1910 in White Station, Mississippi. So I want to do is I want to get into his biography, and I want to show some sources that people can look into. So that's a picture of Howlin Wolf. And if you're a blues fan like me, I mean, you will learn to appreciate blues because blues has opened up a lot of doors to other genres. And when I tell you blues never gets old, it never gets old. Never, ever gets old. It's always good. I was listening to one of his songs. He got a song called Backdoor Man. And I thought it was pretty decent. I like the tempo. I like the rhythm and all. So let's go ahead and get into the biography of this man. All right. So, according to his biography, who was he? He was born Chester Arthur Burnett and was a Chicago blues singer, guitarist, and harmonica player. Originally from Mississippi, he moved to Chicago in adulthood and became successful. Formed a rivalry with fellow bluesman Muddy Waters. With a booming voice and imposing physical presence, he is one of the best-known Chicago blues artists. The musician and critic Cub Coda noted no one could match Howlin' Wolf for the singular ability to rock the house down to the foundation while simultaneously scaring its patrons out of its wits. Producer Sam Phillips recalled, "When I heard Howlin' Wolf, I said, this is me. This is for me. This is where the soul of man never dies." Several of his songs, including Smokestack Lightning, Killing Floor, and Spoonful, have become blues and blues rock standards. In 2011, Rolling Stone magazine ranked him number 54 on its list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. And that's a picture of him again. Okay. So he was born in White Station, Mississippi, to Gerard Young, or Jared Drew, was it Jared True? Yeah, Jared True Young and Thomas Burnett. He was named Chester A. Arthur. He was named for Chester A. Arthur for the 21st president of the United States. His physique guarded him the nickname Bigfoot Chester and Bull Cow as a young man. He was 6'3", 191 centimeters tall, and often weighed close to 300 pounds. The name Howlin' Wolf originated from Burnett's maternal grandfather, who would admonish him for killing his grandmother's chicks from reckless squeezing by warning him that wolves in the area would come and get him. The family would continue this by calling the young man the Wolf. The blues historian Paul Oliver wrote that Burnett once claimed to have been given his nickname by his idol Jimmy Rogers. All right, so Burnett's parents separated when he was a year old. Doc, who had worked seasonally as a farmer laborer in the Mississippi Delta, moved there permanently, while Jones and Burnett moved to Monroe County. Jones and Burnett would sing together in the choir of the Life Board Baptist Church near Gibson, Mississippi, and Burnett would later claim that he got his musical talent from her. Jones kicked Burnett out of the house for unknown reasons one winter when he was still a child. He then moved in with his great uncle Will Young, who had a large household and treated him badly. While in Young's household, he worked almost all day and did not receive an education at the schoolhouse. When he was 13, he killed one of Young's hogs in a rage after the hog had caused him to ruin his dress clothes. This enraged Young, who then whipped him while chasing him on a mule. He then ran away and claimed to have walked 85 miles barefoot to join his father, where he finally found a happy home with his father's large family. During this era, he went by the name John D to dissociate himself from his past, a name by which several of his relatives would know him for the rest of his life. At the peak of his success, he returned from Chicago to see his mother in Mississippi and was driven to tears when she rebuffed him. She refused to take money offered by him, saying it was from his playing the devil music. So as you can see, Howlin Wolf grew up in a very religious household. He grew up going to church, and at that time period, blues was considered as devil music. It was considered because it was secular music. And if you guys know about the origin of blues, blues pertain to music about sad songs. It talks about what goes on in like relationships and what yeah, so blues pertain to like sad relationship, bad relationships, um, somebody who feel very lonely. You know, you just have the blues. You're not, you know what I'm saying? So most that's why it's called the blues, because most of the time it's dealing with sad stuff. You know what I mean? But it has some good rhythm to it. And it could talk about people cheating on each other, so yeah, but anyhow, so blues was considered as the secular music and was considered to be a devil music according to the religious people, the Christians. They didn't really too much have a liking into that type of musical style. So let me go ahead and continue. All right, let me go ahead and continue. So, in 1930s, Burnett met Charlie Patton, the most popular bluesman in the Mississippi Delta at the time. He would listen to Patton play nightly from outside a nearby juke joint. There, he remembered Patton playing Pony Blues, High Water Everywhere, A Spoonful Blues, and Banty Rooster Blues. The two became acquainted, and soon Patton was teaching him guitar. Burnett recalled the first piece I ever played in my life was a tune about hook up my pony and saddle up my black mare. Patton's Pony Blues. He also learned about showmanship from Patton. When he played his guitar, he would turn it over backwards and forwards and turn it around over his shoulders between his legs, throw it up in the sky. Burnett would perform the guitar tricks he learned from Patton for the rest of his life. He played with Patton often in small Delta communities. All right. And it says Burnett was influenced by other popular blues performers of the time, including Mississippi's Skelts, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Ma Rainey, Lonnie Johnson, Tampa Red, Blind Blake, and Tommy Johnson. The country singer Jimmy Rogers was also an influence. Burnett tried to emulate Rogers' blue yodel, but found that his efforts sounded more like a growl or a howl. I couldn't do no yodeling, so I turned to howling, and it's done me just fine. His harmonica playing was modeled after that of Sonny Boy Williamson II, who taught him how to play it when Burnett moved to Parkin, Arkansas in 1933. And on April 9th, 1941, he was inducted into the U.S. Army and was stationed at several bases around the country. He found it difficult to adjust to military life and was discharged at the end of his hitch on November the 3rd, 1943. He returned to his family, which he had recently moved near West Memphis, Arkansas, and helped with the farming while also performing as he had done in the 1930s. Floyd Jones and others. In 1948, he formed a band which included the guitarist Willie Johnson and Matt Guitar Murphy and the harmonica player Junior Parker, a pianist remembered only as a Destruction, and the the drummer Willie Steele. Radio station KWEM in West Memphis began broadcasting his live performances, and he occasionally sat in with Williamson on KFFA in Helena, Arkansas. All right. So in 1951, Ike Turner, who was a freelance talented scout, heard Howlin Wolf in West Memphis. Turner brought him to record several songs for Sam Phillips at Memphis Recording Service, later renamed Sun Studio, and the Bahari brothers at Martin Records. Phillips praised his singing, saying, "God, what it would be worth on film to see the fever in that man's face when he sang. His eyes would light up. You see the veins come out of his neck, and buddy, there was nothing on his mind but that song. He sang with his damn soul." Howlin' Wolf quickly became a local celebrity and began working with a band that included the guitarist Willie Johnson and Pat Hare. Sun Records had not yet formed, so Phillips licensed his recordings to Chess Records. Howlin' Wolf's first single were issued by two different record companies in 1951. Moaning at Night, How Many More Years, released on Chess, Riding in the Moonlight, Morning at Midnight, and Passing by Blues, Crying at Daybreak, released on modern subsidiary RPM Records. In December of 1951, Leonard Chess was able to secure Howlin' Wolf's contract, and at the urging of Chess, he relocated to Chicago in the late 1952. Howlin' Wolf had a series of hits with songs written by Willie Dixon, who had been hired by the Chess Brothers in 1950 as a songwriter. And during that period, the competition between Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf was intense. Dixon reported, and every once in a while, Wolf would mention the fact that, "Hey man, you wrote that song for Muddy. How come you won't write me one like that?" But when you write for him, he wouldn't like it. So Dixon decided to use reverse psychology on him by introducing the songs to Wolf as written for Muddy, thus inducing Wolf to accept them. In the 1950s, Howlin' Wolf had 5 songs on the Billboard National R&B charts: Morning at Midnight, How Many More Years, Who Would Be Next, Smokestacks Lightning, and I Asked for Water, She Gave Me Gasoline. His first LP, Moaning in the Moonlight, was released in 1959, as was standard practice in that era. It was a collection of previous release singles. Okay, so in the early 1960s, Howlin' Wolf recorded several songs that became his most famous, despite receiving no radio play: Wing Dang Doodle, Backdoor Man, Spoonful, The Rooster Red, later known as Little Red Rooster, I Ain't Superstitious, Gone Down Slow, and Killing Flow, many of which were written by Willie Dixon. Several became part of the repertoires of British and American rock groups who further popularized them. Howlin' Wolf's second compilation album, Howlin' Wolf, often called the Rockin' Chair album from its cover illustration, was released in 1962. During the blues revival in the 1950s and 60s, black blues musicians found a new audience among white youths, and Howlin' Wolf was among the first to capitalize on it. He toured to Europe in 1964 as part of the American Folk Blues Festival, produced by the German promoters Horst Lippmann and Fritz Rowe. In 1965, he appeared on the popular television show or program Sheding at the insistence of the Rolling Stones, whose recording of Little Red Rooster had reached #1 in the UK in 1964. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Howlin' Wolf recorded albums with others, including the Super Blues Band with Bo Diddley and Muddy Waters, the Howlin' Wolf album with psychedelic rock and free jazz musicians like Gene Barge, Pete Cosley, Roland Faulkner, Moses Jennings, Louis Satterfield, Charles Stepney, and Phil Upchurch, and the London Howlin' Wolf session, accompanied by the British rock musician Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Ian Stewart, Bill Wyman, Charles Watts, and others. So Wolf's last album was 1973, The Backdoor Wolf, entirely composed of new material. It was recorded with musicians who regularly backed him on stage, including Herbert Sumlin, Detroit Jr., Andrew Blueblood McMahon, Chico Chisholm, Lafayette Shorty Gilbert, and the band leader Eddie Shaw. The album is shorter, a little more than 35 minutes than any other he recorded as a result of his declining health. All right, so his personal life. Let's see. Burnett was noted for his disciplined approach to his personal finances, have already achieved a measure of success in Memphis. He described himself as the onlyest one to drive himself up from the Delta to Chicago, which he did in his own car on the Blues Highway and with $4,000 in his pocket, a rare distinction for a black bluesman of the time. Although functionally illiterate into his 40s, Burnett eventually returned to school first to earn a general education development, which is a GED, and later to study accounting and other business courses to help manage his career. Burnett met his future wife Lily when she attended one of his performances at Chicago clubs. She and her family were urban and educated, were not involved in what was considered the unsavory world of blues musician. Nevertheless, he was attracted to her as soon as he saw her in the audience. He immediately pursued her and won her over. According to those who knew them, the couple remained deeply in love until his death. Together, they raised two daughters, Betty and Barbara. Lily's daughter from an earlier relationship. West Coast rapper Scheme is his great nephew, who was born 14 years after his death. Hmm. All right. So it says after he married Lily, who was able to manage his professional finances. Burnett was so financially successful that he was able to offer band members not only a decent salary but benefits such as health insurance. This enabled him to hire his pick of available musicians and kept his band one of the best round. According to his stepdaughters, he was never financially extravagant. For instance, he drove a Pontiac station wagon rather than a more expensive flashy car. Burnett health began declining in the late 1960s. He had several heart attacks and suffered bruised kidneys in a car accident in 1970. Concerned for his health, the band leader Eddie Shaw limited him to perform 21 songs per concert. So his death took place in January 1976. Burnett checked into the Veterans Administration Hospital in Hines, Illinois for kidney surgery. He died of complication from the procedure on the 10th of January. At the age of 65, he was buried in Oak Ridge Cemetery outside Chicago in a plot in Section 18 on the east side of the road. His gravestone has an image of a guitar and harmonica etched into it. So in September 17, 1994, the U.S. Postal Service issued a 29-cent commemorative postage stamp depicting Howlin Wolf. And of course, on June 25th, 2019, New York Times Magazine listed Howlin Wolf amongst 100 artists whose material was reportedly destroyed in the 2008 Universal Fire. Damn. Howlin Wolf Foundation is a nonprofit organization organized under the U.S. Tax Code Section 501(c)(3), was established by Betty Kelly to preserve and extend Howlin Wolf's legacy. The foundation mission and goals include the preservation of blues music genres, scholarship, enable students to participate in music programs, and support for blues musician and blues program. All right. So the awards and nomination in 1972, Howlin Wolf was awarded an honorary Doctor of Arts degree from Columbia College in Chicago. Grammy Hall of Fame, a Howlin Wolf recording of Smokestack's Lightning was selected for a Grammy Hall of Fame, an award established in 1973 to honor recordings that are at least 25 years old and have qualitative or historical significance. And there are so many others, right? So here's the discography from 1959 all the way down to 1997. So here's the notes at the bottom, and there's the reference at the bottom too. Also, I got a book that I would like to share. So this book right here is entitled Moaning at Midnight, The Life and Times of Howlin Wolf, James Segrest and Mark Hoffman. Okay. So the book was written in 2004. But this goes into the life and the legacy of Howlin Wolf and his musical legacy. So you guys can buy it on Amazon. You can go to Barnes and Nobles, or you can purchase the ebook, or whatever you got to do. Here's the information. All right, that's it. That's all. And I hope everyone have a good one. And until next time, peace and power elevation. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm out.